Hey, what's happening, guys? So I'm back again with another review, and this is a figure that's been out for quite some time now, but for some reason I just never got around to reviewing it. And I really don't know why, because unlike its 1.0 predecessor, I think it's great. And in fact, I'd give it 3 thumbs up if I could. And that figure is Super Saiyan 3 Goku 2.0. Alright, so Super Saiyan 3 Goku 2.0. Now, I'm sure we've all heard the tales and seen the pictures, if not actually owned, the one and only original 1.0 Super Saiyan 3 Goku. And from the get-go, this thing was terrible. I mean, 1.0 articulation hindrances aside, what the hell was with the skin tone? Did he take the Kakarot too far and thought, hey, why don't we actually make a Goku figure who looks like he actually ate too many carrots and see if anyone picked up on it? Who knows? All I can say is thankfully we got this 2.0 version right here, and it's leagues better. Now let's get into it. Now, being a 2.0 figure, it has a lot of expectations to live up to, and I gotta say, for the first fully clothed 2.0 Goku figure, I think it does just that. I mean, upon the first glance, there is no doubt in my mind that this is what the figure is supposed to be, and who it's supposed to be of. And on top of that, it has the correct, or at least a more accurate depiction of the skin tone to that of the anime than its 1.0 predecessor did. Now, having said that, the figure isn't perfect, and it's still very top heavy, but I mean, that's to be expected based on this crazy hair sculpt now, isn't it? And now, despite that, it is possible to get this figure standing up on its own. Alright, so starting with the head. Again, no doubt what the figure is supposed to be and what it represents, the iconic Super Saiyan 3 transformation, and it does it very well. The fact that we get a removable halo is also a big bonus point here, as well as the segmented joints along the hair itself are signs of a figure that has more thought into it than some of the others in this line, which I think is really great. And I mean, just the hair sculpt alone really captures the wild kind of, jagged, powered aura-ness that Super Saiyan 3 brings with it. Now, the one thing that is lacking on the figure, as with many other 2.0s, is shading. However, oddly enough, I don't think it impacts the head on this figure as much. I mean, there's usually a radical glow and aura surrounding Super Saiyan 3 anyways, and I think this figure gets away with it quite nicely. Now, one other thing I wanted to mention regarding the hair in relation to the faceplate is that with this faceplate in particular, I find it works better if there is a slight more upwards tilt to the head, which makes the expression of the eyes anyways a little bit more, vivid, menacing. However, this isn't always possible because depending on how far you tilt the head up, it'll actually make the hair jolt the faceplate off. Now really, this isn't a complaint, it's just more of an observation. Alright, so taking a look at the body now, unlike Majin Vegeta, this doesn't take away from the figure at all. In fact, once again, it was one of the updated versions of a non-battle damaged Goku that we first saw. And it features the exact same color scheme that we're used to seeing with Goku figures, of course, being the orange and blue. And to me, the orange looks like a slightly darker tinge than that of some of the Goku figures in the past. That could just be me though. Making our way down the figure, I have to correct myself slightly as there is some crotch shading going on, but I mean nothing miraculous that really makes the figure pop. Okay, so now just comparing him real quick to Awakening Goku, I find that one of the biggest differences to note is the paleness of Super Saiyan 3 Goku's skin. And this could be, and correct me if I'm wrong, more due to the fact that Super Saiyan 3 has a brighter aura around it, so they're trying to kind of, replicate that feel as they kind of tried with the original and failed miserably. But I feel like that accounts for why we do see that paler skin tone. Other than that though, the belts seem to match up pretty nicely. And the blues between the undershirts and boots only differ by a slight margin, with the SS3 blues on the shirt and the boots being slightly darker just by a hair of a fraction. So I mean, all in all guys, in terms of the figure's likeness, I give this figure a solid 10 out of 10. I mean, there's no doubt who this is supposed to be when you look at the figure. The colors are not that far off at all by any means, and despite not having as much shading throughout it as its predecessor, I think it's a really solid representation of Goku in this form. Alright, so in terms of the hands and faces, we get a pretty standard assortment here. We of course get the fists, followed by the karate chop hands, the grabbing hands, martial arts hands, and energy blast hands, and finally instant transmission hands for both sides, which is a very nice but small touch, as I feel majority of the time it's just one side for this hand that we get. Okay, so now for the faceplates, we get a total of 4, which is nice. First off is the side judging sort of glance that we also saw with the armored trunks. Very nice on Super Saiyan 3 Goku overall, and it's actually my favorite faceplate to pose this guy with. Next up we have the standard screaming / powering up face, and the eyes are actually facing dead ahead, which I like a lot because I'm not a huge fan of the side glances on this expression in particular. Next up we have sort of a teeth gritting face, which is an interesting one as it's definitely not a bad faceplate at all. I just wonder what made them choose this expression and why Super Saiyan 3 Goku for it. Again, not a complaint, just a query. Now, lastly, we have a smirking face, which I find to be super creepy. I mean, I get what they were going for, but geez, this is like straight up rape face, man. Out of all the faceplates, I like the fact that the shading is pretty consistent on all of them, and they all came out looking great. Alright, so in terms of actual accessories, we don't really get much, but we do get a halo and a stand, which are arguably two very crucial components to complete the release of this figure. I mean, you can't have Super Saiyan 3 Goku without a halo, because that's technically how he appeared when he first got the transformation and was shown in the anime. And the fact that it's removable is a super nice touch. I think it came out looking dope, and the translucency is also a very nice touch on it as well. And of course we get the run-of-the-mill stand, which is very appreciated due to the top heaviness of the figure. Alright guys, so Super Saiyan 3 Goku, definitely one of the better figures in the line, and I feel like this is one of the figures my eye always gets drawn to whenever I look over at my cabinet, and with good reason. It captures the very essence of one of the most iconic and meme-worthy forms of Super Saiyan in all of Dragon Ball. But what do you guys think? Did you pick him up? Did you miss out on him? Did you pick up the original? Let me know down below, and you know what I always say. May the best of your todays be the worst of your tomorrows.